On courage and fear. Courage is the power of the mind to overcome fear. We must build dikes of courage to hold back the flood of fear. Fear paralyzes. Courage frees. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving forward. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Courage is an inner resolution to go forward despite obstacles. The time is always right to do what is right. A genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus but a molder of consensus. On love and non-violence. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Non-violence means avoiding not only external physical violence but also internal violence of spirit. Let no man pull you so low as to hate him. Peace is not merely a distant goal but a means by which we arrive at that goal. Love is the key to the problems of the world. Violence never brings permanent peace. We must meet hate with creative love. Forgiveness is not an occasional act. It is a constant attitude. On justice and equality. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. We will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. A right delayed is a right denied. Law and order exist for the purpose of establishing justice. True peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice. There comes a time when silence is betrayal. Change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle. We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. On purpose and determination. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? You don't need a college degree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. The question is not whether we will be extremists, but what kind of extremists we will be. Faith gives us the courage to face the uncertainties of the future. A man who won't die for something is not fit to live. We must use time creatively, in the knowledge that the time is always ripe to do right. No person has the right to reign on your dreams. You can kill the dreamer, but you can't kill the dream. Almost always, the creative dedicated minority has made the world better. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. On action and progress. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. A lie cannot live. The time is always right to do what is right. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. Life is not worth living until you have found something worth dying for. Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Never succumb to the temptation of bitterness. Change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability. We are now faced with the fact that tomorrow is today. Take the first step in faith. On dreams and hope. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We must accept finite disappointment but never lose infinite hope. Even if I knew tomorrow the world would go to pieces, I would still plant my apple tree. We must combine the toughness of the serpent and the softness of the dove. The moral arc of the universe bends at the elbow of justice. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness. Only in the darkness can you see the stars. There is no gain without struggle. We must keep moving forward. On humanity and brotherhood. Whatever affects one directly, affects all indirectly. We are tied together in the single garment of destiny. An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns. All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance. The hope of a secure and livable world lies with disciplined nonconformists. Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. The beauty of genuine brotherhood and peace is more precious than diamonds or silver or gold. A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual death. Human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. No one really knows why they are alive until they know what they'd die for. On education and character. Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education. Nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. A nation or civilization that continues to produce soft-minded men purchases its own spiritual death. We are not makers of history. We are made by history. We must learn that to expect God to do everything while we do nothing is not faith but superstition. Character is how you treat those who can do nothing for you. A productive life begins with purposeful education. Education must enable one to sift and weigh evidence. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people but the silence over that by the good people. On leadership and vision. A genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus but a molder of consensus. A leader must be a thermostat, not a thermometer. He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetrate it. True leaders are not consensus seekers but consensus shapers. Leadership does not mean power. It means responsibility. The ultimate goal of leadership is to lift people to higher levels. Real leaders are people of truth and moral conviction. Servant leadership is the highest kind of leadership. A leader steps out even when others hesitate. Real leadership is rooted in love. On resistance and revolution. Freedom is never given. It is won. Non-cooperation with evil is as much a moral obligation as is cooperation with good. History will have to record that the greatest tragedy of this period of social transition was not the strident clamor of the bad people, but the appalling silence of the good people. Let us rise up tonight with a greater readiness. Let us stand with a greater determination. Every step toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle. A riot is the language of the unheard. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. The whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. I still have a dream.